So here we have 2017 question 9. This is Leaving Cert Ordinary Level and this is a question on statistics. So we're told in June 2016 the UK held a referendum on its membership of the EU. Table 1, so this is table 1, below summarises the results. So we're given information and the first question we're asked to write the number of invalid or blank votes into the table. So the total number of votes is either going to be composed of valid votes and invalid votes. So that means the number of invalid votes is equal to the total minus the valid. So the total is 33,577,342. So it's going to be minus 33,551,983. So that gives us so we get 25,359. So we're to write that into the table. So 25,359. So that is the amount of invalid votes. So we're asked to write the number who voted to leave the EU as a percentage of the valid votes. So the valid votes, the leave the EU, if we add all the leave the EU plus the member of the EU, these are the valid votes because the only valid votes can be counted in either of these. So we're asked to write the percentage who voted to leave the EU. So the number to leave the EU over the valid votes. So leave the EU is this one here. So 17,410,742 over valid votes, which is 33,551,983. And as a percentage, so we'd have to multiply that by 100. So it'll be so then I get 51.89, and we're asked to write it correct to the nearest percent. So that would be 52%. So then the next part, we're told table 2 shows the percentage of, so we're given another table. So I'll just quickly draw out the table that we're given. So this is the table that we're given, and it's giving the different age groups and how they voted. So these are our different. So we're asked to draw a suitable chart or charts to represent the data. So what I might do is a bar chart. So if I'm to draw a bar chart, I might have the ages on one axis, and then so this is the remain. These are all percentages, the percentage that voted to remain, the percentage that voted to leave. So then I might have percentages on my other axis. So I'll go up to 100%. So then So I'm gonna firstly have the age group 18 to 24. So 18 to 24. So I'll just say if I do 1 centimeter for the one is remain, the other is leave, so 73%. So I'll just have to mark this axis here. So So 73% voted to remain. They voted to remain in this age group. So we're gonna bring this up to 73. So so that's our remain, and I might use 2 different colors. So I'll shade in my remain in blue, and then of everyone that chose to stay, I'll do in red. So so this is remain, and then leave was 27%. So I'm gonna go across to 27. So it's about here, and so this is my 18 to 24 age group. And now I'm going to go to 25 to 34. So I'll just leave a small space in between. So 25 to 34, 62% voted to remain. So we do our remain up to 62. So, and then the leave in this case was 38%. So our leave is 38. And now we go on to our next age group. So 35 to 44. So the people that chose to remain was 52%, the percentage. So shade that in blue. And then that chose to leave was 48%. So then we go on to our next age group. So it's 45 to 54. So the people that chose to remain is 44%. And then that chose to leave is 56%. So I'm just kind of doing lines across so I can see. That's 54. And then the next age group, so it'll be 55 to 64. So that's going to be my next age group. So the percentage that voted to stay is 43%. So that's going to be in blue. And that voted to leave is 57%. And then for my next age group, which is 65 plus, that voted to stay is 40%. And the amount that voted to leave is 60%. So I just had to do my bars a bit smaller at the end because I was running out of space. But this is my bar chart, which represents the above table 2. So that is my bar chart for that. And then we are asked to find the mean of the remain values given in table 2 and find the mean of the leave values given in table 2. Give your answers as a percentage correct to 2 decimal places. So say if we want to find the mean, so the mean is the average. So we're using our table 2. So we're using this table here. So the mean is the sum of all the values divided by the number of values. So if we get the mean for the remain, we'd have to add up 70. So we'd be adding 73 plus 62. So we're adding all these together and dividing by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 44 plus 43 plus 40 and divided by 6. So that gives us 73. So we get a mean of 52.33%. And then for the leave, you have to add up so all these values. So it'll be 27 plus 38 plus 48 plus 56 plus 57 plus 60, and that's all over again 6. So 27 so then I get 47.67% correct to 2 decimal places. And then the next part, I'm asked to explain why the answers to part BI, so this is part B, part 2, do not accurately reflect the actual outcome of the referendum. So basically, the percentage in these age groups, the average percentage of people within a certain age group that voted is 52.33, but then the average percentage within an age group is less for the number of people that voted to leave. So we are just basing on the age groups. So we didn't actually deal with how many voters are in each age group. Well, there could have been a lot more voters in the 65 plus age group than say any other age group. So the number of each voters, we're just dealing with age groups and how a group voted, but we're not actually dealing with the size of the group. So the number of voters in each age group is not used in finding the mean in the last question. So that's in part B, part 2. So the mean is based on the percentage data of voters in each age group. So it's not based on the size of the group. So it's not used in finding the mean. So basically it's not based on the size of each group. So it's not reliable. So in the days following the UK referendum, a survey was conducted in Ireland on attitudes towards a British exit from the European Union. 1,200 people were surveyed. Find the margin of error for this survey. And so the margin of error basically says, say if we get a certain proportion of people. Well, the margin of error is kind of like how far could our actual, say if we get a percentage and we say that 50% support something, and say our margin of error is 0.1. Well, the true amount of people that support, so say if this is P is the proportion of people that support, well, we could add on our error and subtract our error to find the real amount of people that support. So it's plus or minus our margin of error. So to get our margin of error, we can use our log table. So it's the formula is 1 over the square root of n. So n is the sample size. So our sample size is 1,200. So it's 1 over 1,200. So that gives us 0.0288. So they want it as a percentage. So that'll be 2.8898877%, and but they want correct to the nearest percent, so it'll be 3%. So in the Irish survey, 578 of the 1,200 voters agreed that a UK exit would have a negative effect on the Irish economy. Use your answer in the last part to create a 95% confidence interval on the number of people who agreed that a UK exit would have a negative effect on the economy. So the margin of error, which we just got in the last part, was we got that it was 3%. So I'll just do E for error. So the proportion of people surveyed, so we had 578 over 1,200 agreed that we'd have a negative effect. So that this is the actual proportion that we got in our survey. And this, say we want this as a percentage, it'd be 48.17%. So if we have multiply that by 100, so the margin of error is the proportion plus the margin of error on one side and minus the margin of error. So it gives us a wider range. So we'll do the proportion, which is 48.71. So the actual number of people is less than, so the proportion, so P, the real true proportion of people who think it's be negative, will be the number of people plus the margin of error, so plus 3, and then it's going to be greater than the number of people minus the margin of error. So minus the margin of error, so say if we were to round that to 48%, because it wants it correct to 95%, because it's dealing correct to the nearest percent, we might just deal correct to the nearest percent. So 45p and then 51. So the true proportion of people who think it will have a negative effect is going to be between 45 and 51%. And then after the survey, a political party claimed that 53% of the Irish population believed that the decision to leave the EU would have a negative effect on the Irish economy. Use your answer in the last part to conduct a hypothesis test at the 5% level of significance to justify the party's claim. So we're after conducting here a 95% confidence interval, or we can call this a 5% level of significance interval. Level of significance. So this other party is claiming that 53% support. So we say first we call a thing called the null hypothesis. So we say that their claim is true. So we call HO is a null hypothesis. So that is equal to the proportion of people supporting. So the So we'll say that the P is equal to 53%, and then the alternative hypothesis is that what the people are saying is not true. Hypothesis, so we call that H1, is that P is not equal to 53%. So our confidence interval range is between 45 and 51, and as 53 is not 3% is not within this range, we have to reject HO, which is the null hypothesis. So the party's claim is false. There is not enough evidence to support their claim. Is false. So we have to reject. So that is our answer for that question.